All right, so we talked about who you would meet. Let's talk a little bit about, were you always funny as growing up, or were you, like, was humor part of your way to break the ice? I mean, twin brothers, you had to differentiate each other. And it's funny enough, it comes full circle to the point where you guys are doing a very similar thing, right? And at the same time, you mentioned earlier, your brother's like, hey, don't be doing stuff on private jets, right? Because that's kind of my thing. But were you guys, how did you differentiate each other, and were you always both humorous?
I mean, I think the key thing was we were always really good with accents. Okay. And I think when you're good with accents, you tend to be humorous because you're good at getting into a certain character and then being, for example, very sarcastic. Like the MyTechCEO is just, it's funny because it's so in character and you're laughing at the character and this, yeah. So I think we're good at getting into that. If I watch someone enough, I can kind of imitate them and get into their, into how they act and just present like that person. We both have had that skill really well. And honestly, we for a long time, we never knew how to use that skill effectively. I think one of the things that this is useful for is I'm a decent public speaker. I've done a lot of debates, especially growing up, and I didn't really think about how that could be used with content, especially with TikTok, which my brother cracked 18 months ago when he started. But yeah, I'd say accents was the key thing that was a real differentiator from other people, other kids, especially growing up. And I realized there's something there, I can leverage this in some way.
That's incredible. And it's, what I've learned about you and kind of what people should learn from this video as well is, one, you set a goal earlier to meet Donald Trump in this case. You said, I'm going to get through this room. And you did it, and you planned it. And you also not only planned it, but you kind of made yourself stand out. So no matter what, in building content, you have to make yourself stand out, it looks like. You got to be that one guy that's different in the room than the 100 other people. With your brother and you, the long-term trajectory of building this type of content, or really building content, like right now it may not make as much money, I don't know, it's not my business, but what's the goal? Like, I'm sure your brother's getting hit up to do some potential like marketing or not direct marketing, so to speak, maybe wearing a particular shirt. Like, where does this lead? What are you guys hoping to get out of this down the road? A show, marketing, money? What's the goal?
Yeah, it's a great question, honestly. I don't have like a very specific strategy here on like, I want to be able to do X and Y. I think obviously like the only strategy I have is that I recognize that doing something in tech is smart because there aren't that many people doing it. Yep. And it's also just a valuable audience. Like I've met a lot of interesting people through MyTechCEO and been able to just leverage people who've watched my videos. A lot of really big tech CEOs watch my videos and they find it funny. And that's a great thing because now they've seen me. That's
they know you.
An interesting conversation starter.
And it's a good networking tool. So like when at one point, I feel like you're going to have a Rolodex of some high-end CEOs that are going to be able to either back you or give you an open door to another opportunity. That's incredible. Has your brother also kind of like, because his marketing is like, I am luxury, like I am rich. Is it a little different approach, would you say, in theory, than tech?
It is slightly different. I think actually he's also in an incredible space. I can't comment too much on the monetization side of things, but he actually has an incredible audience. He has incredible engagement, and so he does actually do some. He makes definitely like there's money to be made. There's been a lot of money made already on the monetization. But I think like both of us, the way we're thinking about it is we're not trying to grasp monetization right now. Yeah. We recognize that long term, if you're building a big audience, people have seen you. There's brand value in that. There's value in that. We can find ways to leverage that from a business perspective. I mean, for example, if my brother decided, right now, hey, I have over 1.7 million followers across TikTok and Instagram. I want to launch a luxury brand, whatever it is.
A product,
skincare,
whatever.
It would do well. Yeah. And that's because of the brand value.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think about it the same way. I actually, for me, what's more important than like monetization is I really want to be able to, at some point, go out of just doing humor stuff and start to bring more insights. I think it's really interesting when you approach building an audience by first doing entertaining stuff and then being able to do insights. I think it's hard. They're very insightful stuff. It's hard to get good traction on it. So I was like thinking like, why don't I just do entertaining stuff, which I know I can do from the from the leveraging European Kid experience with my brother, and then do more insightful stuff as well along that. So I think that's kind of the plan too.
This goes back to, and I had guests on the podcast that are brand builders. Personal brand is something that all of these agencies have said is the growing number one trend. Building a personal brand is as important. And in your case, like I'll just bring it back as your personal, like you may have a company named, whatever, XYZ, let's say. No one knows what that company is when they walk into a room in the beginning.
Totally.
But the personal brand, they may already know. They've seen your video. They've seen, you out there. They thought you were funny and humorous. They feel you could present. You mentioned you could speak and talk in public. So the personal brand component of investment or even in success is such a major component. And a lot of people that have come on the podcast said, hey, you may want to build a personal brand first before you build a business brand, whether you launch a coffee company, whether you're launching jewelry, makeup, cosmetics, whatever is out there. That's incredible. And I think you guys are really doing that. To get back to the cameras and the limelight and meeting people, were you guys always like, did you have a background in editing, video editing, cameras, or did you just kind of pick this up?
Absolutely not. No editing background whatsoever.
Wow.
And honestly, a lot of the videos, we edit them ourselves, like on CapCut. Like it's nothing fancy. And I think if anything...
Shout out to CapCut.
Yeah, shout out to CapCut. I mean, but if
they should be sponsoring us.
They should, honestly. But if anything, it's just showed you like... And obviously this has also been as a result of trends like TikTok coming into the game. But you can get millions and millions of views without the highest production, and in our case, especially the European Kid, the way the content is done, it looks very realistic. That's part of the strategy on how to do viral videos. But it shows you can do things without a lot of expertise.
Without this big budget.
Exactly.
Right? Like people think I need a filmographer, I need a videographer, I need an audio editor, I need this, that. And you're basically saying, hey, throw that all out the window, focus on the quality of the content, understand who you're engaging, and really put out that direction and content that's going to resonate with that viewer.
Totally.
Constantly, I would say. You probably have to do this constantly and kind of keep it going as well. Do you ever feel like, I'm putting out content, but today's not the day. I don't think I could be as funny today as like yesterday's a different vibe. Do you ever get around that? Or?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I have moods where I'm like, really want to shoot content. There's other moods where I'm like, you can't make me say anything right now. Like I don't want to be in front of a camera.
You're locked out.
Yeah, and that's fine. That'll happen. The key thing is like to build a brand, especially to build this personal brand, what I'm trying to build right now, you need to find excitement. You need to be excited by it, and you need to make sure you're tapping into a passion for putting something out. And so I'm always very wary of like, hey, if I'm not really enjoying this, then what can I do that I would enjoy this?
Good question to ask yourself.
So that's the key thing, because you just can't build a personal brand dreading the content creation side of it.
All right. You mentioned you're in San Francisco as well. It's a city I've moved to since I was 8 years old. I'm 40 years old now, so I'm very old. And I still go there sometimes. It's changed. We're not going to talk about the politics of it. I don't care. How's the dating life in San Francisco? Are you dating? Is this something that we should talk about or not?
I have a girlfriend.
Okay.
So it's, right now I'm not really dating around.
Okay.
But I was back at the start of the year.
And then she saw MyTechCEO and said, I better grab this guy before he blows up, huh?
It's exactly what happened. No, I'm joking. I don't even think she saw my content, funny enough. But yeah, no, dating in SF is interesting. I don't know what to say. I guess, I've tried the apps. I've tried meeting in person. But yeah, I'm very happy with the relationship I'm in right now. So
let's switch off that. Do people recognize you in anywhere you walk down in San Francisco, or are you not at that level yet? Or you're kind of getting some guy going, hey, aren't you that guy on TV? Do they mistake you with your brother like I did?
All the time.
Really?
Like I can't tell you how many hundreds of photos I've taken. People thinking I'm the European Kid.
That is so crazy.
The European, and that's one of the things that blew me away. It's like when we started the European Kid, and my brother especially was going really, really hard on that content. Like, it's crazy to me. Like, you, especially, and it actually really depends on where you are. So for the European Kid, if I go to like a high end kind of club or like a high end like, you know, bar or lounge, like I will get tons of people recognizing me.
Wow.
Especially in a place like New York, like these like more like wealthier places. It's honestly ridiculous, and it's funny to see how it went from like a year ago, no one knew who I was, but now I can walk somewhere and people are like, I've seen your content. You're that French kid, right?
It's so funny. How do you deal with that? Do you go, no, that's not me. I'm the tech guy. How do you?
At first, I hated it.
Yeah.
Because I was like, yeah, like this is an account that I started with my brother. Actually, he does most of the videos. Now I'm just like, yeah, it's my brother. I do another account. Check it out, MyTechCEO. And I actually have gotten people recognizing at MyTechCEO. It makes me so happy. I'm like, great. Yes, that's me. I'm the MyTechCEO, not this guy.
Yeah,
so,
he's my tech. Listen, you two have you both have such an incredible story to tell. I think it's like, it's rare what you were able to achieve. I mean, this should be on like a big media network or something. You know what I mean? Like to say both me and my brother have been able to captivate audiences in 2 different formats. Both identical twins, you guys mentioned, right?
Yep.
So both identical twins, yet different brand building. You know what I mean? It's incredible. It's like such a cool story. I don't know. It's insane. Have you ever considered like, well, what if he has like, let's say he's on vacation, you could sit in for him and do a European Kid video, and he could vice versa.
I have done that.
Yeah.
I have done that. I've done some really cool trips, and I've literally shot videos. I kid you not, they got millions and millions of views. I can point. I don't know if I should point them out, but there are some videos. It's just me, and people don't recognize it. They don't think this is the twin brother. It's like this is the standard guy that appears in the videos. It's so funny, and it's so funny because like my friends will know it's not me. Know it's not him. So like, oh, that's funny. He looks a little different this time in the comments. I'm like, stop.
That is so funny,
Yeah.
and it's like, you know, I don't know how you guys do it. That's just incredible from the standpoint of differentiating each other your whole life at one point, and then kind of now having to do it on Instagram. I find it fascinating.
It's funny, absolutely.
All right.